video, I'm going to show you a directive which is with the name ng-show. ng-show directive is mostly useful for validations. As you can see on my screen, I have a simple HTML page in that same sample which we have done from the earlier videos. You can see that I have an Angular module with the name myModule, and inside that, with the help of controller function, I'm creating a new controller for Angular with the name X. Inside this, with the help of $scope object, I've created two properties, and in that we have some values like for name and for emails. These are some dummy values which I'm going to use when I'm going to bind my controls with these properties. Important thing is this particular HTML code which is using ng-show. If I expand this form tag which is connected with my module through ng-app and my controller X with ng-controller, you can see that inside this I have created some simple HTML UI. I want you to concentrate on this, that inside this form tag we have two sections of code. This first section is actually connected with my first property initial name, and that's why I'm using ng-model for that. In this first input tag, which is text box, I'm applying HTML5 validation of a required field, and that's why this property is there. Now my goal is I want to apply my Angular validations with this required. For that, I'm actually going to use ng-show. This ng-show directive allows me to show a particular part of the HTML tag at runtime, depends upon the constraint which we are going to pass in this. To understand this constraint, I want you to concentrate on some properties inside this form tag. You can see I'm using name property for the form tag which is form1, and I hope you know that name property is useful for get and post. In this case, we are going to use name property to get the values of form tag and the controls which are inside that. So to access the value of input tag, I'm assigning a name property to that also, and that is my name. To get the values of this for my ng-show constraint, you can see I'm specifying that my ng-show is going to show this thing when my form1.name means this text box dot there is a predefined Angular object with the name $error. With the help of that, I'm specifying that I'm going to connect this thing with the validation which is for required field. So this $error is a predefined Angular object which is allowing me to deal with the constraint. Same way, for the second property which is the name initial mail, I'm creating one more section in which I'm connecting that thing with the ng-model initial mail. Name of the control, I'm giving email so that I can access that. And this time when I'm applying my ng-show on this, you can see it's showing me form1.email.$error, but this time it's not for required, it's actually for email relation. Now to check this thing, we need to run this application in a browser. If I run this thing in a browser, you can see it's showing me a simple page inside which we have a name and an email which we have provided from our properties. If I just keep this thing empty, it's showing me the validation for the required field. The moment I type something inside that, it's gone. And same way, in this case, even if I just remove the email kind of thing, you can see it's still having a name test inside that, but it's not a valid email, so it's showing me a validation with that.